So there is one stock that stands above the rest that I plan to buy the most coming into 2026. To me, I think we're getting a great deal, so I have to keep buying. So let's talk about the stock and why, more importantly, behind the buying spree. Just make sure you like the video if you like getting the truth without the hype, because that is exactly what you're going to get today, guys. Sorry, no to the moon predictions or anything else crazy like that, just simply the truth about the stock market. And if you don't understand valuation, or you want to find hidden gems routinely at low prices, and you want to work directly with me, make sure you take advantage of the Cyber Week sale that is live right now and ends this weekend. Prices are going up next year forever on my group overall, so lock in your price for as long as you stay a member, guys. Your price will not go up. I've done this before. I've never raised the price a single penny on any of my members in the group. So we'll talk more about it at the end, but it's the pinned comment down there for those that are interested. So the stock that I will be buying the heaviest until the end of the year, and I still can't believe the valuation on this stock, and that's okay. This happens in the stock market, and that stock would be Amazon. But let me give you the reasons why I'm loading the boat still on this stock, because it's clear as day to me that Wall Street is missing it once again, and that is to our advantage as retail investors. So the first reason, AWS is a beast. For whatever reason, Wall Street likes to knock AWS and just go, well, they're not growing as fast as their competitors and some other things of that nature, but they conveniently leave out the fact that the next closest competitor is only 65% as large as AWS is. So as you scale and as you get into a massive growth, you can't grow as quickly as others, but you're still seeing growth in AWS despite its size. So sure, some competitors might very well have better percentages, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're taking away market share or that they're killing off AWS or AWS is done and this next little thing over here that's 1/10 of the size is growing at 50% per quarter. So that way it's definitely going to overtake AWS one day if you project it out over 10 years, and all these stupid charts and graphs and everything else people put out there in regards to trying to create a bear narrative for AWS and how it's going to affect Amazon and everything else. Now, obviously, I would like to see it growing better, but I can't say it's not already a beast. I can't say it hasn't already exceeded all expectations with Amazon to begin with. I remember when they came out with AWS, it was a joke. It was a joke on Wall Street, and I think that's the reason for some of the bearish, because all the Wall Street folks got it wrong. They all went, this is going to flop. This is going to go nowhere. And then all of a sudden, just a few years later, it is the biggest player in the space quietly, more importantly. That is what Amazon does best. And notice that's just AWS. Amazon is so much more than that. We'll talk more about all the rest of it here in just a little bit. But coming back to the point, Wall Street missed it the first time around, and it went from a laughable joke to the biggest, best player out there. Now all of a sudden they're looking for any reason to knock it down a peg because they were wrong the first time and they don't want to be proven wrong again. They want to kind of say, look, we were right all along. This AWS thing, which is kind of a nice little thing that Amazon did. That right there is what's going on. To me, AWS is a beast. It will continue to be a beast to the bottom line, which is the most important here into the future. So I love AWS, and that's just the first reason, guys. We got 3 more to get into. So number 2, valuation is historically cheap. Now look, you guys know I talk about valuation all the time here on this channel. That is what matters most. That is what keeps you out of trouble. That is what keeps you from making terrible decisions in the stock market. Sometimes you buy a great company at the wrong valuation and you won't make money on an incredible company for years in some cases. Ask all the Tesla folks that bought at that 400 mark, 2021. How long and how hard of a journey that's been. You have to take valuation into account every single time you do it. And for Amazon, it is historically cheap right now in regards to valuation, despite the fact we are in a hot market and AI is all the rage and everybody's talking about bubble, this and that. Well, guess what? Amazon's not in bubble territory at all in regards to valuation. It's actually historically cheap for Amazon. So that right there is where you got to understand valuation on a high level. That's why I preach it so much, because it's so easy to spot opportunity after opportunity after opportunity and avoid disaster after disaster after disaster if you use valuation. That's exactly how you avoid all the disasters that happened in 2021 and you scoop up incredible deals in 2022 based upon valuation. That's how you do it. And right now, Amazon is trading historically cheap, and that for me is another reason why I can't ignore the stock. I have to buy it. Which leads me directly into number 3, which is this is Google all over again. Now guys, this is just my opinion. I have no insight. It may not happen, but all the narrative around Amazon feels exactly the same as Google was for really the past year up until, really 4 or 5 months ago, maybe 3 months ago or so. I mean, Google was just dying. Everybody's eating their lunch. They're behind. They're a legacy brand. They're going away. And now magically, nothing has changed with the business. Nothing has, changed fundamentally with the company at all. Now they're the leader. Now all of a sudden, everybody wants a part of it. Of course, they want a part of it when it's at $300+. We were all over it when it was at 150, going, this is stupid. This is historically cheap for Google, just like we're talking about right now with Amazon. Back then, this feels kind of the same exact way. The narratives against it were just stupid. It made no sense. And when I looked at valuation, because sometimes, the sentiment can be negative, but the valuation is overvalued. And I'm like, ooh, okay, I need to stay away. It's not just Wall Street being dumb. Maybe their narrative is dumb, but the valuation is still high. So I need to stay away. Just like if some folks are extremely negative about Palantir right now, I can disagree with that negative sentiment. I can disagree with their takes on it, but I can't say the valuation, I can't say it's a steal deal right now, right? Valuation is still historically high for Palantir, as opposed to what we're looking at right now with Amazon, where it's historically low. So to me, this feels a lot like Google all over again, where Google changed nothing. Google did nothing different for the past year and a half, or let's say you got pretty much a year or so to buy Google at incredibly cheap prices, and nothing changed. It just continued to impress quarter after quarter. Matter of fact, some of the narratives were stupid. Search was dying. Really? I kept looking at the earnings and I kept seeing double-digit growth. I don't know who's right and who's wrong, the numbers I'm looking at the thing or Wall Street's narrative. Clearly Wall Street's narrative and what's going on with Amazon right now, all the negativity around AWS and growth and everything else that they're talking about with Amazon just to me seems laughable, just like it did with Google. So it kind of feels like we're in that same sort of situation. I just need to continue to add shares. Matter of fact, if you would have asked me at the beginning of the year, what was going to be my biggest buy this year? Well, starting off the year, I thought it was going to be Google, right? I thought it was just going to be, man, they just keep beating it down. I don't understand it. I'm just going to keep buying it. And now all of a sudden it's flipped to where I look at a lot of my buys and I'm like, man, Amazon's going to give it a run for money. I may end up putting more money into Amazon this year than I did Google at the beginning of the year here because of that dynamic switching so fast. I'm not sure Google stayed beaten down for a really long time. And it was just such a steal deal. It was such an easy buy. But if you would have told me at the beginning of the year that, hey, Amazon was going to be the one at the end of the year that I would still be buying heavy, I'd tell you were kind of crazy. Like, there's no way. And here we are. It's exactly what we're getting. Maybe I'm wrong. Again, this is just my opinion, but it sure does feel like this Google situation all over again. Now, when it turns around, who knows? It's Wall Street. It took Wall Street like a year and a half to figure out Google was a great business again. I don't know. So, Wall Street, I'm not trying to guess those games anyways. I just know add shares when they're cheap. And number 4, Amazon is making a play in everything. Now, follow me here, guys. There's a lot to unpack with that statement. This is why I love Amazon as a business, because just remember, AWS started off as this little side project over here, everybody thought was laughable. Now it's the biggest revenue generator. Okay, groceries. They're in that right now. In the grocery space, you get them delivered to your house. I've been doing it for a long time. I absolutely love it, and I'm never going back to the grocery store again. It's awesome. Pharmacy, guess what? They're in it, and they're expanding, and at least here in the US, you think people are going to buy more or less medicine in the future. I think it's definitely more, and if Amazon can somehow get their hooks into folks and get them used to that getting delivered with the same sort of efficiency and everything else they do, as opposed to going and sitting in line at the pharmacy and all the other craziness that comes along with that, there's no doubt in my mind that right there will be a big hit. AI, clearly they're in AI, and clearly I think they will be one of the winners. Now, you guys know my long-term stance on that is I think there's going to be hundreds of winners in the AI space, not this winner-take-all narrative that's out there. I think there's going to be lots of winners in lots of different ways. So I think Amazon's absolutely playing in that space, and they're going to win. Advertising, of course, it is growing rapidly there. And wow, man, outside of Apple, who has more data on consumer behavior in terms of what they buy than Amazon does? And they can feed you an ad right there while you're in their app ordering your groceries and everything else that people order on Amazon there. So advertising to me is a massive, massive, and of course it's also high margin as well. I forgot about that. It's massive margins as well. So as that continues to grow and grow rapidly, man, there's going to be a lot of money made there. And of course, robotics, right? A lot of folks are talking about it. Yep. They've been playing in that space for years now. And in my opinion, they are ahead of most folks out there. Now, let me explain this a little bit further here. Having robots that actually increase profitability right now today, like Amazon's robots do, as opposed to maybe one day it'll do something and be useful and be able to actually, perform. And that shows me that Amazon is way ahead of a lot of folks in the robotic space. I understand that purpose built just simply for Amazon. Who freaking cares? Guess what they're doing? They are impacting the bottom line positively right now, not a cash drain like others are with no ability to turn that around anytime soon. So that right there is one of the reasons why I love that fact, because, hey, They don't need to sell it to everybody else. They just simply need to lower their cost in the end. And if they're able to do that through the robotics division that they have, then that is a massive, massive win for Amazon, which of course increases margins in that future. Now, think about a lot of other things here, guys. There's more. I know it seems crazy, but autonomous taxis, right? A lot of you guys out there think those are the future. Yep, guess what? They're quietly in that space and they're expanding there. Now, I agree, it looks weird, but they are live and working in the real world right now. So you can't discredit it and say, oh, they won't be there. Well, you know what? They're doing it quietly. They're not involved in the whole robotaxi versus Waymo, debate and all that other stuff like that. Typical Amazon style. They're going to play in the background here and then be one of the big players later on. No doubt in my mind. They'll be one of the players in that space. Again, I think there'll be multiple winners there as well. They're also in satellite internet, and that's right, they're getting involved there too. That right there could be a massive opportunity in the future. So when you look at all the things we just talked about, there's actually more, but just those things we just talked about, they're getting involved in several trillion-dollar opportunities that are out there, and there's no doubt they're going to grab a piece of that. Now, is everything they do successful? No, not going to be successful at all. However, to say that they aren't actively expanding in lots of different areas, lots of different avenues, all kinds of different opportunities. And oh, by the way, they have a track record of executing and actually disrupting and creating, not hype, but actual bottom line profits doing that. Man, that has me really excited. And notice, guys, notice, I didn't mention one time in this video, maybe I mentioned it once, glossing over it, but I didn't mention their bread and butter, which is their retail operations, right? Just us logging on there and buying anything and everything through Amazon. I didn't even mention that. So that to me is why I'm excited about the company. That is why I will continue to buy it as long as that valuation continues to stay cheap. I think Wall Street is once again off on this stock, and so I'm happy to buy it. And remember, if you want to see those buys in real time, you want to see my complete watch list with price targets, you want to learn how to identify a valuation like this and understand investing on a high level so you don't get burned by the hype birds or the, all the scare and fear narratives and all those other sort of things out there. You just execute and make a lot of money in the end. Make sure you check out the pinned comment. Take advantage of the Cyber Week sale before it ends this weekend, and that price goes up forever for my group. Guys, it's the best value you can make. Check out everything that's involved in a full membership there. It's the pinned comment. And click this video here if you want to see exactly what I'm buying in this market. And click here to see my exact plan for this market. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.